Yo, what is going on, guys? It's the third upload of the day, and it's me again, Stage Wheezy, or Wheezy, whatever you want to call me. And today's actually going to be story time with Wheezy. I don't want to really do these a lot because then they obviously get repetitive, and I don't know. So, I'm not one to, really take things super personal. I mean, I obviously, take some things personal, but I am not one to like super get pissed off over minor things. Now, if they're like repetitive and they just keep happening, and just never seem to subside or kind of quit, then I'll get really pissed. Now, you guys probably don't know what I'm talking about, but one day. This again was in school, but this was actually ninth grade. This was the ninth grade of my high school year, first ever year in high school, and so, like, I don't know. This. See, the thing is, I don't really get super mad over things. Like I've said, I don't get mad over things. But one thing that really just ticked me out, I literally. All right. So the basics of the story is I cussed my teacher out so bad to where I almost got like expelled. So not a lot of people know this, but my ninth grade year, I had English, English 1, that's regular class you're supposed to take. But so I'm in English. Now, it was already a super long day, right? And then this bitch of a teacher, she goes and decides to, she's gonna turn the lights off and we're gonna, be looking at the smart board and we're gonna like look at the smart board for a fucking hour straight. And so I was already having a, slow day, bad day. And then, so this happens. Now it's about almost pitch black. The only light source is the actual smart board. And so I'm tired, right? And I'm thinking, God damn, lights are off. Everyone's like being quiet. Fuck, this is like perfect sleeping conditions. So, I kind of rest my head for a little bit. And then I guess I just passed out. I don't know. I was laying there for a little bit, perfectly fine. And then next thing you know, I'm out cold. And my teacher decides that it would be a splendid idea to wake me up by taking one of the other students' water bottle, right? Just regular water bottle, doesn't really matter. Taking their fucking water bottle and pouring water into my ear to wake me up. Like, she took a, and this wasn't like a drip or two. I mean, she had like squirted that shit, like full blown, like hosed that shit into my ear. So much to where like my entire face was covered with water. And she wasn't like usually the mean type of teacher. She was just kind of like, you had to be on a good side for her to actually like you, and I wasn't on a good side because, well, that's just for another video. But let's just say I'm on her bad side, right? She already doesn't like me, and then she goes out and do this. Now I get up because no, see, the thing is, she woke me up because we were doing like a smartboard activity, right? We were doing like terms or something, and we had to like match these terms, and it was just the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But besides the point, she must have like called on me or something because she seen me that I was laying down, and when she found out that I was sleeping, she decided to pour water in my ears so I would wake up, and then I would gladly go up to the board and match a term, right? I was so fucking pissed. I woke up and she's like, all right, Connor, or you can go up to the smart board and you can go ahead and match whatever term you want. And I'm like, I woke up and I look at her, I'm like, are you fucking I didn't obviously say this. I was just thinking in my head, like, is this bitch retarded? Like, you just drenched my face in water. You think I'm literally just gonna like gladly walk up to the smart board and fucking like, no. So I sat up and I'm like, no, like, fuck you. Like, I don't even know if she didn't hear me. Well, I sit up, I'm like, fuck you. And she's like, no, Connor, seriously, you can go up to the whiteboard and you can match a term. I sit up, I'm like, alright, so let me just do the dialogue, right? I sit up, she's like, Connor, you can go do a matching thing on the fucking whiteboard. I'm like, fuck you. And like I said, I don't know if she didn't hear me or whatever, but she just kind of ignored that. And she's like, no, Connor, you can go up to the whiteboard and you can match a term. I'm like, I sit up, I just grab my bag and shit. She's like, where you going? I'm like, I'm fucking leaving. Well, you can't leave. I'm like, why the fuck did you pour water in my ear? And she's, give me one reason right now why I should send you to the office. I'm like, cause I'm fucking leaving, you stupid bitch. Well, you can't leave. I'm like, no, watch me. Grab my backpack and shit, and then she tries to like block the door and stuff, and she tells one of the other fucking students to call the office, right? Now, this is why I almost got expelled. Cause I literally like grabbed I grabbed her arm, cause she had her arm like covering like the door or whatever. I grab her arm and I like yank her away from the door, and like I didn't even like push her, like really, and like I just grabbed her arm and kind of like, you know, got it off like away from the door so I could open the door. I got like I don't even know. So I move her arm off the door, right? And then she like stumbles and shit, or I don't even know. And then she tries to blame it on me, like, you're gonna get in so much trouble for pushing teachers and shit. I'm like, like what? So I just fucking yank open the door, and I didn't even try to slam it, but it was a door that didn't have like no spring or anything on it, so it wasn't like super like even if you weren't trying to slam it, it would still be loud. So I just like open the door, go out, and close the door, and it sounded like I slammed it as like hard as I could. Now don't get me wrong, I was super pissed off and shit, but I didn't mean to slam the door. I was just super pissed, and I was just wanting to go home. So I'm walking down the hall. Next thing you know, I get graded by the fucking principal. He's like, come with me. I was like, alright, whatever. So, come with her. And then, after school, because obviously I had fucking, like, suspension after school. And this motherfucker's like, he comes in with the teacher. Okay, do you want to explain to me what happened? I'm like, yeah, she drenched my fucking face in water. He's like, Connor, calm down. He's like, you don't want to get in any more trouble than you already are. I'm like, dude, just like, how is it like even okay for a teacher to still like dump water on, or like, it's like, really? I don't know. But he starts talking to me and he's like, all right, Connor, explain your side of the story. I was like, all right. I'm like, I was tired. I went to go rest my head. I accidentally fell asleep. He's like, well, why didn't you go to bed early? I was like, I did go to bed. I was just tired. So, well, that ain't no excuse to sleep in a class. I'm like, okay, but can I still finish my story? Go for it. Now, this is the reason why I remember this so specifically. Because he kind of, like, leans in, like, all sarcastically and shit. And I'm like, what? He's like, well, I'm interested in what you have to say. I was like, whatever. And so I start telling him, I'm like, you know, I fell asleep in class, and she thought it was okay to, you know, like, drench me in water. And he's like, is this true? And I'm not going to say the teacher's name, but he's like, is this true? You know, let's just say her name's Sarah. Is it true, Sarah? And she's like, well, I might have, you know, dribbled a little bit of water on his face, just kind of like wake him up, you know. And I don't know if both of them are completely fucking retarded, but my entire face was like, it looked like I just got out of the shower. And he fucking believed this bitch, right? So I'm sitting there like, what in the fuck is going to happen, you know? I'm like, so he's like, well, I'll be back with Mr. Let's just say his name's Mr. Cop, okay? So he's like, I'll be back with Mr. Cop. So I'm like, great. So he comes in with the school cop, and the cop's explaining, you know, like my rights and shit. I'm like, literally, like, really? Like, are we taking this serious? He's like, well, the teacher said you had assaulted her by, you know, he said you, like, tackled her off the door. And I'm like, it's like, what? I'm like, ask anybody else in the classroom. I literally just pulled her hand off the fucking doorknob. He's like, oh, nope, I gotta take the adults, you know, thing. I'm like, there's 28 witnesses that'll say that I'm right and she's wrong. Because no one else liked the teacher either. Like, she was a bitch. And so he's like, he's explaining my rights and he's telling me what I can and can't do, you know, how I should have handled the situation and stuff. I'm just sitting there like, I don't know, guys. I was so pissed off. And I went home about 3 hours after school was actually supposed to be over, right? Mind you, I was already having a bad too, and then add that to my day. Ooh, you guys don't even understand. But I don't know, guys. See, I don't really like to get super deep into my like story times or whatever. But this story literally was like these. I don't know. I think the teacher got fired like 2 years afterwards because she like told a student he was like retarded or something. I don't. So like she was obviously like way out of her line and shit. But I don't know, guys. Just tell me your thoughts. And, answer or thoughts and questions, everything. Uh, this has been Story Time episode 2. Hope you guys enjoy it. Now I'm actually like in a bad mood because I'm thinking of that and how like fucked over I got. But this has been your boy Wheezy. Story Time episode 2. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you in next video.